how did you come to write this book? I mean, Giving Grief Meaning. And I'm just going to pretend that I don't even know.
Well, as you know, it didn't come easy. I struggled in my youth like all of us do. We all have something we struggle with. And I was blessed to have found the Agape International Spiritual Center early on, and began the process of healing from addiction, and just healing from the not enoughness that you so often talk about, Rev. And so I got myself to a healthier place, through the New Thought, Ancient Wisdom teachings, and felt that I was ready to have a child. That became a part of my visioning process, and my husband agreed, and it didn't come easy. We had to do fertility treatments, but I was sober to do that, and we all welcomed in a beautiful baby girl. It took a few years. It was a rough pregnancy, and finally brought her home after 2 months in the hospital, and celebrated her life. And I was going to write a book on healing from addiction, healing from trauma. And at the tender age of 2 months old, Kara died of SIDS. She passed in the night, inexplicably. It's called crib. Some people call it crib death.
Right.
And it was there that I had to put the tools that I'd learned as an MFT psychotherapist, as a student at Agape, into practice. It was, you said to me, grow or shrink. You have a choice, Lily. This is the choice. You're at a crossroads. You can grow or shrink from this. And I think so many of us were paralyzed with fear. Fear is coming to us every day, from various sources. And when we're in that state of paralysis, there's really no choice. We have to choose growth. And so I chose to grow through her passing, and to really put my tools into practice, and not to abandon my vision, and wrote the book Giving Grief Meaning. And I'm so honored that you've written the foreword, and to be, our community lifts each other. We lift each other up, and here I am today, and I have the Kara Love Project, which 100% of the proceeds go to those who support the book, and I get to breathe light into what was Kara's life through being in spiritual community.
Yes. Yeah. I love the title, Giving Grief Meaning, because one of the things that we worked through during that time was when we're growing spiritually, we have a tendency to ask, what is the meaning? What is the meaning of someone passing so early? What is the meaning? And people around the country may be asking this question, why? What is the meaning of this person dying? And what I like to always do is reverse that and say, we don't ask what is the meaning. We ask, how can I give my life meaning? Based on knowing this individual, or based on this person's life, how can I give my life meaning? And this is what you did. And so the title, how to give grief meaning, is very powerful, because we're asking people to ask a higher question, because we can languish in, oh my God, why did this happen? And what is the meaning? And that's natural. It's very natural. The heart is hurting. But if we can just shift as you did and say, well, how can I give my life meaning? And one of the things you did, you started a foundation in her name. That's how you gave Kara's life meaning. And you poured your soul into it. And the foundation, is helping other people in many, many ways. So you took that grieving energy and transmuted it into a meaning that her life was not lived in vain. Those 2 months that you were her mother, and you still are, those 2 months that you were her mother became a signpost for possibility for other people. And I so embrace you, because to lose a child is difficult. Matter of fact, I just sent your book to 2 good friends of mine who've lost children. Ben Vereen lost his son, Ben Vereen Jr. recently, and Bobby Brown lost his son, Bobby Brown Jr. recently. So I sent them notes, called them, but I also sent your book to them. Not that they're languishing, but the fact that I thought your book would be very helpful. You signed it for me. And I'm sure people who are listening right now, based on everything that I said at the beginning about the grieving that's going on in our nation, we're highlighting morbidity every day on the news. And the morbidity that we're highlighting is most of the people that are passing with COVID, but we have forgotten to a degree about the hundreds of thousands of people that are dying every single day from cancer and heart attacks and diabetes and obesity and alcoholism and things of that particular nature. And so I wanted you to be on the program so people could see this woman who lost her child, but gave her life meaning based on it. So you wrote this book, and within this collective state of grief that I've just articulated, what are some of the tools that you would suggest that helped you through?
Well, the modality in the book Giving Grief Meaning is the name work. And one of the primary facets of the book is the idea of affirming, that which is taught at Agape, the idea that if I change my thinking, I can change my life. And that it doesn't mean that life doesn't suck, but I can't let it suck me under. So
I like that. It doesn't mean that life doesn't suck at times, but it doesn't have to suck us under. That's
good. Right. And it doesn't mean that I wasn't knocked past my knees. And the idea of affirming, it's not saying that I don't feel I don't feel those emotions, but it's feeling whatever comes up in my body mind, and then creating a space and opportunity for continued growth and unfoldment and connection. And that's what I believe has, this has been made manifest through that vision and through a connection to God, to the universe, to opening to my pain, opening to the suffering, and then asking the question that is so often asked at Agape, that we ask every Sunday: how can I serve today? How can I serve today, sweet spirit? And that is central. And then it's also made up of there's the personal responsibility component, that is acting as if, meaning, like, even if I don't feel like getting out of bed, just make the bed, make the bed, brush my teeth, these simple practices are holy practices when we make them holy, when we give them a name. So when I'm brushing my teeth and rushing around, maybe I don't have time for a long practice, but I can make that process of brushing my teeth holy by naming it as such, by affirming it as such, by visioning it as such, acting as if, and then, flipping the script. We talk about that. Just, okay, well, yes, yes, I'm sad, and I can go take my extra blankets to the animal shelter. Yes, and sometimes when we go into that contrary action, which is acting the opposite of what may be going through the body mind, which isn't always true, then we may not even feel like it's working, but it does work. And I'm proof that it works. I'm here today with you. And we've known each other for how long? I started at Agape, 1999, you know? We thought the world was going to end in 1999 from Y2K. And here we are now. So that
and a part of your world ended when your daughter passed. You know, that was another end of that world and the beginning of another world.
That's true. And so it's a new me. You know, the old me, I can wish for that. You know, going back, I can get into that woe is me. Oh, you know, the old Lily's not there. But it's a new Lily, and I'm a new Lily. I am.
Yeah.
And I'm.
Yeah. You have described what is called transmutation, and that is, you said, and I want people to really hear this, because you didn't repress or suppress the grief or the sadness or the anger. You didn't suppress it. You basically transmuted it through service. You said yes, and yes, sadness is here now. Yes, it is. And how can I serve? How can I? So what happens is that energy, because everything is energy vibrating at different rates of speed. So, you know, sadness and a sense of moroseness and a sense of not enoughness, all of these are energies that are vibrating lower or slower, I mean. And you began to figure out a way to be of service to someone else. So that energy got transmuted into a different frequency. So it just so people understand what transmutation is, it's not heavy. You know, water transmutes itself into ice when it's cold, or it transmutes itself into a gas when it's hot. But nothing is ever lost. It's just transmuting into higher or lower frequencies. You transmuted grief into service. And so now every year we come to your house and you have a program, and that program raises money for Cara Love Foundation. And this last year we raised money for, what was the program we did? We raised money for?
Oh my goodness, I'm
the feeding program.
Yes. Yes, we
Angel Food.
Angel Food, yes, we did.
Yeah.
We raised money for Angel Food even in COVID, even though we couldn't get together in person. And thank you so much for being a part of that. And
but you turned that you
making that happen.
You used the book launch to actually be of service to feeding people.
Yes.
And so I want people to hear that, because for instance, in the Muslim tradition, you know, you're allowed to mourn, and this is certain sects of Islam, for 40 days. And then on the 41st day, you do something in honor of the person that passed over, which helps change the energy. And that's exactly what you did.
I love that. My
you
favorite Rumi quote.
Here you are today. You're like a great servant. You're like known for this nonprofit foundation. And so what does the Cara Love Foundation do now?
Oh, well, I just want to give my favorite Rumi quote, since we're talking, you know, the 40-day period. I really did embrace the quote, you know, the wound is the place where the light enters you, by Rumi. And, you know, and that is, you know, it's funny, because before Cara passed, I was asking, how can I serve? How can I serve? But I felt stuck. And then after she passed, I knew I had to give her life meaning through service. And so the Cara Love Project, during COVID, we had the great honor to team with Maggie Lynn, who's the founder of Foster Nation, and to bring Giving Grief Meaning, to bring the name work, which is the modality in Giving Grief Meaning, to the kids of Foster Nation. Many of them were left without meal vouchers. These are kids ejected from the foster system at 18. I can't believe we have a system that just tosses children out at 18. And these are kids who were like, you know, had so much vision and up to make it into college. And, you know, they were dependent on the meal vouchers. There was no, and then they didn't have the meal vouchers from their campus. So being able to sponsor the kids for the 30-day program to get them on their feet, and then to actually be a part of the Guardian Scholars Program, which is a part of many different colleges and universities. I had the honor of bringing the name work to the kids at Rio Hondo College, which was great. And many of them are unfamiliar with the process of affirmation. So it just shows me how much more work we have to do to get the knowledge. I feel so blessed to have found Agape, and to be able to, bring this work out into the world and to assist you, really to expand that vision that was born at Agape, born of that seed.
Yes. Yeah, you're a beautiful representation of love and it came through severe loss and grief and devastation. And as you said, you were knocked to your knees. I remember that night coming to your home when and the community had gathered at your house, and there was deep sadness when I walked into the house.
Thank God you canceled a trip to be there, because everyone was so shell-shocked and no one could.
Everybody was paralyzed.
We needed you.
Yeah.
And
we were able to change that energy into possibility without denying the grieving process. Now, you also have, if I can use the word, overcome addiction.
Yes.
And so obviously, when your daughter died, it may or may not have been a temptation, but how, but people now, people are in quarantine at the time we're having this conversation. And, what would you say to individuals to help them keep their sobriety as you have? You kept your sobriety during a time in which was devastating to your soul.
Yes.
What did you do to keep your sobriety?
Well, firstly, Susie Lula, a practitioner at Agape, said, when the desire to stop this addictive behavior is there, the change will come. So I had this desire, and I affirmed long before I stopped, that I wanted to release this addiction. I knew it wasn't serving me. And, again, the seed germinated in the darkness to change into new life. So first it was setting that intention. And now during COVID, when it's finding community, it's finding, it's your quote again, spiritual immunity grants you immunity from the lower frequencies of life. So
right.
It is
spiritual community.
Yes. And there's an addictions ministry at Agape, and it doesn't mean, you can just explore, the idea of, I sometimes still, I don't have the freedom with food today that I, did with alcohol. I still slip. I still feel like, oh, I'm not feeling so great. I still reach sometimes for that bag of chips, or I still find myself, but it's the intention. And I know eventually, and I'm an aspiring vegan. I haven't quite made it vegan all the way, but I know I'm setting this intention with you right here, right now, that I want to release what no longer serves me right here in this moment. And that's where it starts. And then, 12-step communities definitely helped me on my journey, and they go hand in hand with Agape. And so it really did. But that visioning is what brought me there.
You're talking about, you're staying conscious.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we don't teach to be perfect. We teach to just make progress. There's something perfect within us, and that perfection within us is unfolding. So we're not perfectionists, So you're going to slip, you're going to have some chips every now and then, or whatever the case may be. But we're engaged in progress, so that every month, every year, we're getting a little bit better at whatever the intention allows that to take place. So we don't beat ourselves up when slippage happens. We just make progress. We start again. It's like in meditation. You go off on a fantasy and you come back and you start again. Same thing in life. So we want progress and not perfection.
Yes.
And what I'm hearing, and I know you, so is that, you're conscious of those impulses when they come up. Now, many people it's still unconscious. They find themselves eating some chips or some sugar or some alcohol, but they don't even remember putting it in their hands. You know what I mean? They just go unconscious. Next thing they know, the bag of chips is gone. They've had 2 beers and a bunch of candies, you know what I mean? Or whatever it is that they're addicted to. But because of your spiritual work, you're conscious of that impulse. And so as you sit with that and you're more and more conscious of it, it starts to lose its power. And that's part of the power of just announcing that we have an issue. It makes us conscious, it's not unconscious. And so you've weathered some powerful storms. Yeah.
And we may not even, we may not even, maybe we just think like, hey, maybe, I didn't even think about it. That might be, but the next time, I think in becoming conscious, the next time I wake up uncomfortable, just to ask myself, was there any substance that may have, been a part of that discomfort, For me, I started practicing yoga, and, yoga just didn't feel as good with a hangover. It just felt like, whoa, I'd rather do this.
That sounds like a chapter in another book, yoga.
That's a good title, right?
The hangover. But because you're just being real. You're just being real and honest. You know what I mean? And you wanted to practice yoga, but didn't feel good with a hangover. So you became conscious. I don't want to drink anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very powerful.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.